now we're going to look at the how. We're going to define the framework. And to do that, we're going to go ahead through some steps to look at the construction, basically, of how we're going to make this app to solve this problem we have. So let's quickly review what we do here. We're going to look at the data creation and management, the user interface setup. We're going to look at some integration and some logic. We're going to look at how to modify data, and we're going to look at a feedback loop. So all of these things are what we're going to plan to do. Now, some of the key ideas we have, we're going to repeat in every case study. So maybe we'll just look at these very quickly. We have array formula, a query, an import range, hyperlink, if, logic, text, now, which are some functions, and some data validation. These are the things we often try to use and are very powerful that maybe you have not really used well before in your Google Sheets and your Google Forms. So let's begin by looking at what we might do for constructing the solution to this problem I'm facing. So remember, the issue is we have a number of people, in my case, students, but they could be people who want to join a club, or people that want to get a membership to something, or people who want to work together, or employees in a small company, or anything like this. And we want them to sign up. So we're going to have a kind of a sign up function. We're going to get them to sign up or sign in, and then they're going to also want to join a group. So if that's what we're going to try to do, what do we need to structure around our Google Sheets in order to make that happen? Let's take a look here. I think what we're going to need to start with is these users are going to first visit a form, and that form, a Google form, they would go ahead and indicate what group they want to join. They would also need to give maybe their name, or in my case, a student number, who they are. Right? Maybe we could collect some other information if we needed it. For example, we might collect information about their position, or things that they want to do, or the kind of work they want to do. It could be many things, but we're going to keep this simple. We're basically looking for, tell me who you are and tell me what group you want to join. They can talk amongst themselves about the groups they want to join. So this person could talk to this person and say, hey, let's join the same group. And then through the form, we want to allow them to join the same group. So to do that, we need to think of how can we stop them from joining a group that's already full, because remember, we wanted to limit the numbers to 3 or less in a group. So we're going to use a form, which is very easy. We often do this in Google, a Google form, and we're going to go ahead and answer some of these questions in the form. This form is then going to put that response data into a Google Sheet. And so each line inside the sheet, each row, is going to be one person. So there's be person A and person B and person C and person D. And inside here, they're also going to indicate what group they want to join. So maybe A wants to join group 1, and B wants to join group 2, and C is friends with A and they want to join group 1, and D wants to join group 1, and maybe E wants to join group 2. So in this way, we can collect the information of who is joining what group. Okay, that seems very straightforward, but we've got a problem here. This doesn't solve some of the issues we've already raised. So for example, how do we prevent too many people from joining one group? Remember, we want to have less than 4, so 3, 2, or 1 inside one group. So how can we do that with this way. There's really no way we can do that. Now we can tell our students, in this example, my students, I could tell them no more than 3 in a group, but how's that going to work? Because they can say they understand, but then they maybe will push the button to say that they want to join 4 people in a group. Then what am I going to do? It's much easier to try to do these things in the front. In other words, at the user interface, rather than in the back, which is the back office or the information that the administrator can see. Changing things in the back is extremely difficult because you need to then send information to the students again, to the users. So it's much easier to try to prevent them from doing something wrong in the front, inside the user interface. So we do end up with this issue right from the beginning. How do we do that? We know that we need a form, and we know that in the form we need to collect information about the group. However, maybe what we need to do is not go to the form first, but rather we need to go to a page. Now, normally in programming, this would be an HTML page. And you go to this page, and in this page, we will list options. So we could say, join group 1, join group 2, join group 3, join group 4. And then from this page, the user would go to a form. And then on this page, the HTML page, we would only show the groups that have some positions open. So if group 3, for example, gets 3 people, then group 3 would be removed, and you cannot click group 3 anymore because it's full. Or we could put a little text there. We could say 3 positions open. And then after 3 positions open, we can say 2 positions open. And then we could say 1 position open. And then when the group is full, we would actually just say no positions open. And then the users would know, oh, group 1 has no more positions open. Group 1 is empty. So that's possible that we could do that. That would be a normal way an app would work. You filter here at the HTML page. Now in Google Docs, we're trying to do something that's a little bit more simple than writing the code that's going to be on a server that's going to generate an HTML page. So we don't really have this option like this. But we have something very, very similar, and that is we can use a Google Sheet. And the Google Sheet is just like the Google Sheets you're used to using. But in the Google Sheet, we will go ahead and write some lines here, like join group 1, join group 2, join group 3, join group 4. And that Google Sheet, when you click on that link, so here we're going to have hyperlinks. That link will take you to the form, and that form will have some pre-filled information. So when you click 3, the information of 3 will automatically go into the form to fill it up. So we can do something very, very similar to this. Now, that information will then go into another Google Sheet, as we already said. So this will go into a Google Sheet. And that sheet will be our kind of administration back office. So student 1, student 2, student 3. And then this information can be sent back to this page. And then this page can do a check. Is group 1 full? Is group 2 full? Is group 3 full? So it can check it. And then if it's full, it can go ahead and hide some of this information or change this page live. So this is the kind of cycle that we're going to use for all of our case studies. This is the power of making Google Docs be dynamic. And that is, you move from a form to a sheet, and then the sheet adjusts information on another sheet, and this sheet is the UI for the user, and then that goes up to the form and can change the information in the form. So it's kind of like a cycle. So this is a kind of feedback loop, and this feedback loop allows you to simulate or kind of do something similar to an app, even though it's not really an app. Okay, so I think that's a kind of general introduction. Let's go ahead and jump back here. I want to reinforce a little bit here of our tools. So the array formula is a way to copy data from one sheet to another sheet. A query is a way to get some data from one sheet to another sheet. Import range is a way to get data from one sheet to another sheet. And hyperlink is the link that you click to go to a form. And that hyperlink can include data that helps you fill out the form. So these are very interesting ideas. Hard to understand until we see an example, but we're going to see an example very soon. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump into a real example.